Tech, Twice Weekly, Episode 43. Welcome to Tech Twice Weekly for February 5th, 2015. This is your source for the most important technology news stories and discussion every Monday and Thursday evening. My name is Ben White, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Eric Fee. How's it going this evening, man?
What's going on, dude?
Not a whole lot. It's been a pretty easy week, to be honest.
Roger that.
Well, we've got some pretty big news stories to get to, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into them right away here. Tonight, we start things off with the Register reporting on the Raspberry Pi Foundation releasing the Raspberry Pi 2 Model B. This new version features the Broadcom BCM2836, just rolls off the tongue, 900 megahertz quad-core system on a chip, along with 1 gigabyte of RAM, giving the Raspberry Pi 2 Model B a 6x performance boost compared to the original Model B. Making the new Raspberry Pi even more interesting, however, is what you can do with that extra power, such as running the Windows 10 operating system. This is going to open up even more opportunities for Raspberry Pi fans to make the devices do more interesting and unique things. Have you had much of a chance to experiment with Raspberry Pis at all?
Not really.
Do you want to?
Yes, sir.
Have you ordered one of these, or do you plan to?
I plan to. I haven't yet. I just bought a new PC, so my funds are kind of stretched.
Yeah, I just finally started working on my Raspberry Pi. I've got a little side project I'm working with a friend of ours, Mouse, and we're working on using addressable LEDs to set up a bandwidth meter, a visual display of a bandwidth meter using a Raspberry Pi.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Our thought is to have it go. We're torn between two ideas. One is to have the lights just go up as more bandwidth is being used, and then do one for upload and one for download, or have it always lit and then have an alternate color fill up as the bandwidth gets used.
You could have a multicolor LED that changes color on the more bandwidth is used.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would always be lit blue, and then it would change to red as the bandwidth gets used, or something like that.
So you're often in a state of purple.
Well, it wouldn't be a mix. It would change.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying though. Is like have like a scale like green to like red or something, and it just like gets redder and redder and redder as your bandwidth gets higher and higher and higher.
Our first demo of this is going to be at PDXLAN in February, and that event has a 1 gig up, 1 gig down fiber channel. So it will be interesting to see if we can saturate that pipe.
Roger that. Oh, where there's a will, there's a way. And by a way, I mean removing all your games on Steam and then trying to install all of them at the same time. And if one computer won't get it, just run more than one.
Well, we do have a cache server that runs, so we'd have to find something else, like a lot of Linux ISOs or something.
Yeah, Linux ISO torrents.
Yes, that's the only thing torrents are used for.
That's not true. I've seen other works in the public domain on trackers. The Iliad, for example.
Oh, there you go. Yes, classic works of literature are also good uses for the torrent structure protocol.
Yes.
Well, to go from there, everyone hates advertising, and nowadays it's almost required to have an ad blocker installed to effectively browse the internet. That being said, some websites do actually depend on advertising to stay online, and Tweaktown is reporting that some advertisers are reaching out to the popular ad blocking plugin AdBlock Plus, and they want to be added to the advertising plugins whitelist. So far, the list includes Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, which have been in talks with AdBlock Plus developers. If these advertisers want to be on the exclusive whitelist, however, they will have to pay up. So far, no one has leaked any specific numbers for how much these companies will need to pay, but since companies buying their way onto the whitelist is the main source of revenue for the AdBlock Plus developers, you can expect it to be fairly expensive. What do you think about this idea of advertisers paying their way onto the whitelist?
Sounds good to me. I mean, as long as there are rules on what kind of ads you can get through the whitelist, then hey, why not? If they're unintrusive, non-tracking or minimal tracking kind of thing, then hey, whatever. If they don't make my browsing experience crap, then that's great. The unfortunate thing is that as long as YouTube has ads, I will run ad blocker because YouTube ads make me want to shoot myself in the head.
Do you run AdBlock Plus or do you have a different tool?
I don't know. Sorry, I know that sounds dumb. I just like I've had the ad thing installed on Chrome for so long that I forgot what it is. I will actually look while you're. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I run AdBlock Plus myself, and for the most part, I leave their built-in whitelist on. It says in their settings, allow some non-intrusive advertising. And if you view the list, it includes sites like Google, Amazon, um, Renigo. Google has already paid quite a lot of money to these guys. Most of these are Google ads. DoubleClick is Google. Reddit ads are allowed through, so that's good. Let's see, Google, 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 Google. Oh my God, this is all just a list of Google. Google has basically the only company on here that they have paid to allow through. Three-quarters of this list is all Google and Google domains.
So, as you were asking, I use regular ad block apparently. I don't know if that's good or bad, but hey, whatever.
I don't know what regular ad block is. Pull it up. Ad block. Oh, okay. Ad block is a different developer than AdBlock Plus.
Apparently so.
I wonder if AdBlock Plus doesn't even really have a website.
Yeah, they both have websites. Yeah, who knows? Never really noticed.
Well, what that means is that, at least related to this specific story, you're not you're not going to be affected one way or the other by this whitelist. But I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on the concept of a pre-written whitelist because I will whitelist sites that I feel I want to look at their ads. Like Reddit, for example, their ads are super unobtrusive. I have no problem running their ads, and I know it nets them a little bit of money to help keep the site online. So I have no problem there. And right now, Tech Twice Weekly doesn't run ads. But if we did, we would probably be running under the Google AdSense platform. And those ads are let through by this built-in whitelist. I don't know. I have mixed feelings because I feel like the user should have to build their own whitelist rather than have this pre-built one that companies can pay to get on. But I guess you can turn it off. It's optional, and that's the important part. Let's see, I'm trying to see if the other ad block here has a built-in whitelist of any kind. It doesn't look like they do.
The one I have does. You can build your own whitelist, and it also has. You can build your own whitelist for YouTube. You can build your own whitelist for anything. You can also allow Google's text ads through.
Well, maybe using a different ad block still, because the ad block I'm reading about here from getadblock.com, in their FAQ section, it says, I heard you were asking big companies to pay you to show their ads. And I said, nope, that's what some other ad blockers are doing, and we were as unimpressed as you are. Adblock is 100% user supported, does not have a list of companies to get preferential treatment, and does not ask or allow companies to pay us to show you ads. So AdBlock does not do a whitelist, at least this AdBlock at getadblock.com, but AdBlock Plus does support offering a whitelist that can be bought into.
AdBlock, you can add your own whitelist in. They have an app, the way too. They also have settings that says, I like text ads on Google search results. Show me those. And it has allow whitelisting of specific YouTube channels. So,
oh, interesting. Okay.
Which is cool because you can, of course, you can add YouTube to the whole whitelist, sure, but then every channel will allow it. But you can also add only the users on YouTube who you like subscribe to and you want to flourish. To I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the people who earn their living, who make a living on YouTube, it's pretty impressive. And it's great for them, but too bad.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's better advertising methods than what YouTube offers.
Well, I just wish that I wish I could pay to have all the ads removed, and it would just sprinkle that cents and dollars on the people that I watched.
It would be difficult to implement, but that would be the best option. That would be amazing.
Or if you had a chance to pay it and it just paid people a little bit, it replaced ad revenue.
Right, and I wish more.
Viewer
I
count.
mean, if you could subscribe to a channel and just pay a creator to turn off their ads, I'd be down for that.
Some people do that. Some people only use Patreon, and when their funds get low, they turn the ads on, and then when they have a lot of funds, they turn the ads off. I've seen that before.
Yeah, I've got about half a dozen projects I support on Patreon, but very few of them actually release their content over YouTube, or if they do, they don't use advertising on top of it. Patreon is their sole source of revenue.
Yeah, I mean that's like having YouTube your sole source of revenue. You kind of gotta go the extra mile, and you gotta make shit happen to actually do that. If you're trying to transition out of a day job into YouTube money making, and then you have to get your subscriber count up, and you have to do lots of stuff. And at the same time, if you're trying to transition away from YouTube ads to Patreon, well, then you'd have to have YouTube ads up long enough to get your people onto Patreon or whatever until the income is high enough where you can actually survive. Otherwise, you can't really turn the ads off if you don't have a day job.
Yeah.
So it's like I can understand all sorts of different ways of doing that, but at the end of the day, I hate ads. I'd rather pay money than get ads. And since that's an option, I will just fucking use AdBlock and then whatever.
Yep. All right. Well, Android Central. Sorry. I should say before that the rumors have now been substantiated. The Verge is reporting that Radio Shack has officially filed for bankruptcy. Additionally, Radio Shack will also begin sharing the stores that it keeps open with Sprint. They will also be selling off around 2,400 of their U.S. stores. According to Radio Shack's Chapter 11 filing reports, they're claiming $1.2 billion in assets, along with $1.39 billion in liabilities as of November 1st last year. They also are currently staff a workforce of around 27,500 employees, according to SEC filings. However, the company itself hasn't been profitable since 2011. Can you even think of the last time you shopped at a Radio Shack?
Yeah, back when they still sold like resistors and shit.
They still do. Don't think they don't. They
Well,
hid them. They're not.
they don't
They're
sell
not
shit
obvious.
anymore.
But I mean, they've always sold them. They just more and more hid them in the back.
Gosh. So truthfully, last time I was ever in a Radio Shack was, gosh, probably 12 years ago.
I distinctly remember Radio Shack as a kid because I saved up all my allowance money and I went to the Radio Shack just down the road from my parents' place and I bought a what was it? A CD man. That's what it was. It wasn't a Walkman. It was a CD man, and I was so excited because it had a 15-second anti-skip feature, so I could actually use it when I was in the car or on the school bus and listen to my music without having it skip. Oh, those were the glory days.
If you say so. I remember getting my first MP3 player, which was it was awesome.
What did you have for your first MP3 player?
Oh, I can't remember. Some knockoff, no name, whatever.
Nice. Yeah, those are great. I had a couple of those.
They were so cheap, even back then. It was just like, you only have a few megs, but you could put the songs you want on it, and if it breaks or whatever, you lose it, whatever.
Right.
Headphones cost more than the player.
Yeah, I remember, I think that's what it was. I bought it at the student store. I was on campus at Portland State University, and I bought my first iPod. I bought the iPod Video from the student store because I could charge it to my student account that my financial aid was on.
I had an iPod, the first generation iPod Nano. Those things were freaking sweet.
Oh yeah, those were great.
Yeah, I used it for years. I still have it around here somewhere, I think. No, I think I gave it to my dad. No, it still exists. It still is around.
Right?
Um,
That was in my opinion, that was the perfect iPod.
it was great. I used it in my MR2 for a long time too, because it had an iPod jack in it. So I just would just load music up into it, and you could control it with the Alpine stereo in the MR2. It was sweet.
Well, Radio Shack, you will probably not be missed.
I'll tell you what I really miss, that MR2. That car was amazing.
Yeah, your MR2 was pretty special.
Yeah, that's why you shouldn't give young kids, supercharged mid-engine sports cars.
So they'll wrap them around a tree.
Or drive it down a ravine like I did. I got such a good deal on that too. Seriously, that's my life's biggest regret for me. I would gladly wade through my whole life and everything I screwed up just to have that car still.
I was surprised you didn't keep it. I mean, you kept your Jetta.
Yeah, that was kind of a mistake too. I'm hoping I can make some money off it though.
Yeah. But
I just don't have the room. I just don't have the room to pull it apart and then rebuild another one at the same time. I just don't have the time, money, inclination, workspace, tools, skill.
your dreams are bigger than your give a shit.
I still gotta finish the two-stroke bike that I got half done too.
You pile up projects in your garage the way I pile up projects on my computer.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I have enough projects on my computer to last a lifetime.
Well, Android Central is passing along the rumors of Lollipop 5.1 possibly being close to releasing. The rumors started with an Indonesian site for the Android One leaking a bunch of media materials referencing Lollipop 5.1 before the actual release of the Android One phone in that market. According to the screenshots that Android Police was able to obtain, it appears as though Lollipop 5.1 is the same Lollipop we're already familiar with, and the only visible change is the build number. So far, we know it's coming, but until Google makes a more formal announcement, it will be hard to know exactly what changes may be in store under the hood. And this is one that I knew you'd be interested in, Eric. Alternate calendar apps for mobile have become very popular, but one very popular calendar app on Android and iOS has recently been purchased by Microsoft. As reported by TechCrunch, Microsoft has purchased Sunrise Calendar for, quote, at least $100 million. If you're unfamiliar with Sunrise Calendar, it's a calendar app which integrates Google Calendar and Trello project management into one calendar structure. If Microsoft will continue to offer Sunrise Calendar as a standalone app, or if it will be rolled into some other app under the Microsoft umbrella, is yet to be seen. Microsoft has not made any mention of their plans for the app. I know you're a big Sunrise user. What do you think of this news?
Uh, huh. That's my thoughts. I use Sunrise. I love it. It integrates my Facebook calendar, my Google Tasks, and both my Gmail calendars, because I have two Gmail accounts. I have one I use with work and one I use for my home stuff. It integrates it all into a really awesome calendar. Works fabulously well. The application for the phone is great. The website's great. The Chrome app is actually pretty awesome. So I'm a pretty big fan, and I'm interested to see where this goes. But who knows?
I'd say if it was the old Microsoft under Ballmer, I'd expect Sunrise to just disappear and get eaten up by some other Microsoft property. But under the new Satya Nadella Microsoft, I have a pretty good feeling it's going to stick around.
We shall see.
Definitely, yeah. Well, and our last story for today is from 9 to 5 Google, who's reporting that a lucky few members of the media may be the recipients of an invite from Google to their upcoming February 13th event in New York City. The event, which very little has been announced about, will be an announcement from both Mattel and Google and has the tagline, "View what's possible." And the invite itself references the old school Viewmaster toy from the 90s. Guesses as to what the event could be for range from a kid's toy to a new version of Google Glass, or perhaps even an update to Google Cardboard. Whatever ends up being announced, we'll be sure to cover it on our February 16th episode. What do you think? Do you have any gut reaction to what Mattel and Google could be cooking up?
No. Working with Mattel is dangerous anyways. They just make stupid toys. So I'm not sure what they could be doing other than like Monopoly or some other dumbass thing we've been milking for the last 30 years. Just make some more money on it.
Right. I mean, I think of Mattel as having their heyday in the 90s with Hot Wheels cars and Barbies, but nowadays they're not a brand you think of associated with even kids' toys, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm really curious to see where this goes, so we will definitely follow up later this month. All right. Well, this brings me to my favorite section of the show, our tech toys you wish you could buy. Now, the first one, I'm really looking forward to getting your opinion on this one, Eric. It is a Kickstarter project, and it is for Glow, the first smart headphones with laser light. Basically, it is a pair of earbuds that glow with laser, either red, blue, or green, and the light, or I should say the lasers, pulse with the music, movement, or heartbeat that the wearer is hearing. You can use the app to control the glow or just turn it completely on or completely off. It's I don't know. It uses Google, Android, or iOS, so it's compatible with both. What do you think? Does this get you excited to have laser lit earbuds?
Absolutely not. The last thing I want to see when I'm walking down the street or I'm on my lunch break is some jackass with earbuds that are flashing up and down in whatever color they want. It's like screw that. It should be like underglows on cars. Fucking legal.
Well, if you think that's annoying, then just wait till you hear this. Right now, because the early bird special's already sold out, that if you want in on these, you need to pay $149 to get in. That means you're saving $50 off their expected retail price of $200 for these earbuds.
For $200, you can buy earbuds that aren't garbage. In
You
fact,
could also buy
buy two pairs
several
of earbuds.
hundred pairs of garbage earbuds.
This is true. Um, and earbuds typically don't sound that good. A lot of people who say they do don't have an ear for sound, don't have an ear for music. Sorry, I don't even mean to be mean, but you don't. Uh,
I love
and
earbuds, but I listen to like 99% spoken audio, so for me, it's no big deal.
I use earbuds all the time when I'm riding my motorcycle, and it's not like they don't work, but there are plenty of decent earbuds out there if you do your research for $40 to $50 or less that will last and that will do great and that won't annoy everyone with those stupid lights.
Yeah, this I just had to put in here because of how ridiculous it is. And if you really like the idea, if maybe this is your thing, maybe you're a big rave person and you really love the idea of something glowing, and say you have a spare mm, 4 grand laying around, you can buy into the top tier, and 8 of the available 10 slots have already been taken. For $4,000, you can get a 3-day pass to the Electric Daisy Carnival in Las Vegas. You get 2 VIP tickets, hotel for two, and 3 pairs of the headphones. I don't know why you need 3 pairs for 2 people, but you get 3 pairs for $4,000. Does that make you more interested?
Why, yes, you just spoke the magic word. How will I live without that stupid trip to wherever the heck you just said because I was barely listening?
All right, now let's move on to the product that I think we both actually want. What this product is, it's the Sealander. It's an amphibious trailer for camping and sailing. It's a trailer you hook up behind your truck or car or Jeep or whatever, and it's a very simple trailer. It's got a table in the middle, a bench seat on the left and right side, a hatch that opens up on the back, and a roll-up canopy over the top. And it has an outboard motor on the back, so you can pull this trailer along, camp in it, hang out in the back. Very basic, simple camping. And then if you want to go out of the lake, you just back it up to the water and boom, there you go. You've got a boat. What do you think? Would you be interested in something like this?
No. If I had $1 million, yes.
Really? You'd have no interest in this.
Campers that don't have a toilet or a shower or a sink or a place to prepare food are pretty much worthless. You might as well be in a tent. And in this case, you might as well be in a tent and bring a rowboat with you. I mean, don't get me
That
wrong.
surprises me.
I don't mean to say it's not cool. It is freaking cool, and it looks really awesome. But I have no doubt it's like going to be like $300,000. So
Let's see. I wonder if it has a price listed here. It's made in Germany.
cool. How much does it freaking cost?
Let's see. Here's the order form. They do not tell you a price. It's probably not a good sign.
No, they're probably yeah. No, it's not good. It means it's gonna be way more than I could ever possibly spend on anything of the sort. Hell, you could
It
just
does have cooking surfaces, and you can optionally have it built. These are custom built to order. So you can have it built with a toilet. You can have it built with a cooking stove. So there are options.
that sounds pretty cool.
I mean, if you could get your hands on this, let's say like a normal camper runs what, like 8,000? Does that seem right?
Depends if you mean new or used.
A new, very basic camper.
A very basic camper, yeah, sounds all right.
So
18.
if you could get this for $8,000 to $10,000 with cooking space, toilet on board, bed, table, and
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
assuming you were in the market to buy a camper, I know you're not, but would something that offers those amenities make this appealing to you?
I am so in the market to buy a camper, but yes, it would appeal to me if it was a similar price or something like that. But there's no way it can be. It's impossible.
Well, if you would have to take out the importing it from Germany fee.
A lot of campers are also custom built nowadays, so you kind of are still paying a big price. And $8,000 is for like a real cheapo model.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that nothing on here quotes a price really tells me everything I need to know, which basically is that I can't afford it.
Dude, you couldn't afford like a bus trip to go look at one.
Okay, well, enough dreaming. Let's get down to our discussion for the evening. And this one I'm really looking forward to your opinion on. We've kind of talked about it here and there, kind of beat around the bush on this topic for a while, but The Verge is covering the story that the FCC has announced they will propose strong Title II regulations for the internet, enforcing the at least this version of net neutrality. Um, FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler revealed his plan to reclassify ISPs as a common carrier under Title II of the Telecommunications Act. And this will definitely set up net neutrality, although there's a lot of people who don't feel that attaching an old piece of legislation, the Telecommunications Act, to something new like the internet is really the right way to handle the problem. What do you think? What are your thoughts on all of this net neutrality Title II business that's going to affect the internet as we know it?
I think that the Telecommunications Act came out in 1986. Therefore, the internet's older than that.
Yeah, the internet is old, but the Telecommunications Act was never meant to handle something like the internet.
I don't really think there's a big difference. The internet is different from a phone call. This is true. It's quite obvious. Anyone would say that. But it's not that different than voice communication should be. I should be able to send out my information and my data. Should be able to send packets to any computer that's connected to the internet, and I should be able to get back packets if I want and have them sent to me. And there shouldn't be anything in the middle that is reviewing my packets, that's charging me extra money for my packets, that's charging them extra money for their packets to me. I should pay for access, and I should get access, and there should be no more or less than that. Now, I will say that net neutrality can do more harm than good in some ways, because basic types of QoS, quality of service, applied to like video games or like streaming media, can be really nice, in so much that if I'm streaming a video on YouTube, it won't buffer unto infinity, and a website might take a little bit longer to load because of all the images. But I would rather have no QoS than anything short of something that's purely neutral, like purely consumer focused.
Yeah, and I think that's the trade-off that has to happen. In order for this to work at all, especially to get something through Congress and the Senate, I think that's the route it has to go, right? Because you're not going to get a new piece of legislation pushed through. It just isn't going to happen. It's unfortunate because, I think a better approach would be to write a unique piece of legislation that actually addresses the internet and the way it works and the way it changes and the rate at which it changes, which government legislation will never be able to keep up with. But I think you're right. Applying the Telecommunications Act is probably the closest thing we have that can encompass the internet. And while it may not be a perfect solution, it's probably the best immediate solution we have.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it. And the sooner it gets in place, the better. We can worry about other legislation later.
Yeah, the FCC will be voting on this on February 26th at the end of the month. And, well, let me take that back. I should say Congress will get my organizations right. The Senate will be voting on this on February 26th. Currently, only 2 Republicans have voiced opposition to the proposal from the FCC. But the other concern here is the Republican Congress is currently working on an effort to take away the FCC's authority to issue this proposal with legislation. So if the Republican Congress has their way, the FCC will not be able to actually propose this change, and therefore killing this Net Neutrality Act just as it's getting started.
Which, of course, is a very childish way to act. We don't like legislation that you want to push, so we're going to make it so you can't do shit.
Right. We're not going to propose better legislation and argue why this legislation should be approved and yours shouldn't. We're going to argue that you shouldn't have the ability to propose legislation to fix that problem. I don't even understand politics. That it just pisses me off, honestly. Even having this conversation just annoys me.
I'm also a nay. Thank you a lot, Ben. Now I'm quite a bit angry.
Anytime U.S. politics comes up, one of us is going to get angry at least.
Well, dude, a lot of people think that there's quote-unquote nothing wrong with the internet, except I think that there's something very wrong with how we allow companies to treat the internet. I mean, the companies in the United States that handle the majority of internet traffic have a sacred duty. They do. It's their duty to make sure that our communication goes unhinged and goes through fairly. And they see companies that use a lot of bandwidth like Netflix, and instead of attempting to make Netflix job easier, they extort them for money by crippling their service until they pay. How would you feel if in a couple of years you had your garage, your guy in the garage idea, rented a bunch of machines from Amazon, were piping mad bandwidth out to people giving the best pierogi recipes, I don't know. And then Verizon came along and said, yeah, you know what, your website's going to be really slow now until you pay us a bunch of money. That's effectively extortion. I mean, when you can't reach your customers at all because you're basically being screwed, how is that okay?
Right. And somehow that seems to be okay. I don't understand. There are people who are behind the notion that that's okay.
I am not one of those people.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat you are, and I can't understand it. But I am glad to see this is going the way it's going. I'm hoping the FCC's proposal will go through, and if Congress wants to take away the FCC's authority, well, then do it after the fact. So at least this is in the books. But this is definitely something that I don't think is over. So I think that's the main issue here, is that this is just beginning, and honestly, this will not be the last we hear about net neutrality at all. This is just the beginning of something actually happening to resolve this concern.
Maybe someday.
All right. Well, that wraps up our show for this evening. Is there anything you want to share before we get out of here for the night?
I am in the process of building a new computer. It's exciting.
You went with Intel processor, right?
Correctamundo. I have an Intel i5 with 32 gigs of DDR3 1866, topped up with a Radeon R9 280. It was a mild budget build. I didn't spend a whole. I got the best bang for my buck that I could by something that'll last me for a while. And it's not running yet, so it's still got a bunch of stuff that got to be stuffed into it. I had to stop building it and come up here and talk with you, but hopefully it should be done sometime tomorrow.
Nice. And decided it just wasn't worth the dollars to go DDR4 yet, huh?
No, it would have cost me twice as much. I was looking at a similar build, and not only that, but I would have had to skimp on money in other places to keep the price down. So I would have had a lesser video card. I would probably only had 16 gigs of RAM and not 32. I would have had to buy a extremely powerful processor and overpriced motherboard to go with it. And as much as I wouldn't mind having a super powerful PC, I'm more worried about just having something that'll last me for a couple of years. In 2017 or 2018, the prices for that stuff will be so much lower, and I'll be able to upgrade without any problem, and I will have saved money in the meantime.
Well, and how long have you been running on your current rig?
Almost 4 years.
So yeah, if you ride on this one for another 4 to 5 years, I mean, DDR4 is going to be dirt cheap.
Yeah.
If not, we've moved on to something else.
Yeah, and I am going to, when it's all said and done, I will probably repurpose this machine for something else or sell it to someone I know or whatever. I don't typically waste the hardware that I buy. It goes somewhere worthy. So I'm not worried about it.
Excellent, excellent. All right, well, I will wrap us up here by saying, if you haven't, please subscribe to the show. We're on iTunes. You can also find us on our website at techtwiceweekly.com. We're also on Twitter at techtwiceweekly, and of course on Facebook, facebook.com/techtwiceweekly. If you have any feedback, I'd love to hear from you either on Twitter or shoot me an old school email, feedback@techtwiceweekly.com. With that being said, we'll be getting out of here for the evening. Thank you for listening. We'll be back Monday with more news, more stories, more discussion. Have a great evening, everybody, and thank you for listening.